Over the years, in WWE, we have seen some of the funniest exaggerations happen inside a ring. For example, here look at Triple H after receiving this tremendous kick from Randy Orton and still standing selling the move, as if he was unconscious. You'll see this in more detail later. For now, me. We'll stop talking and today I will present to you the 100 funniest exaggerations in WWE. Wow, I'm not sure if Goldust is strong enough to take down Jerry King Lawler's fighter. The number of turns is crazy. We go to the World Championship Wrestling Thunder program where Scott Hall was on top of the ring and the Big Show or Paul White. Previously he aimed to dismantle the ring, but now incredibly he's at its center. Mr. Perfect is by far one of the most incredible move sellers of all time. Maybe not as much as this referee. Look, he bounced off the rope 3 times. Crazy, I believe no referee to this day has done something as crazy as this. We continue with Mr. Perfect and re-examine what I'm referring to. He was a wizard selling the moves, scissor kick for the Nature Boy and... What's going on? Ric Flair? Wow, Shawn Michaels is so talented in every way, especially at selling the moves. Look, this ended up pointed in the middle of the ring canvas. It's crazy. A Monteforce is also known for selling moves in an incredible way. This happened on SmackDown after a tremendous bombshell from Kate Lee and he was left dead. Mr. Perfect cracks the ball with a little dance. My god, look at that. After receiving the low blow from Triple H, he immediately went outside the ring following that tremendous hit. There are exaggerations and exaggerations like this one from Ric Flair after receiving that kick from Hulk Hogan. He fell after going to the entrance aisle. Wow, Batista the Animal has always been surprising. However, we were very surprised when Mark Henry, with just a very small nudge, ended up overacting more than necessary. And the whole audience saw that. Are these exaggerations so typical of Shawn Michaels? Nobody else does them. However, Sting left Rick Rude walking like a little duck in the middle of the ring, which was a strange sight to behold. We know that Kevin Nash's knee strikes were strong, but so strong to send you out of the ring. If we're going to talk about Dean Ambrose, would we really remember that tremendous stomp from Seth Rollins? That made him spin even to the opposite side from his stomp? We already know that the Hitman was strong, but wouldn't it really be too much to roll out of the ring? Yes, Shawn Michaels is strong, but don't you think Triple H really overacted? For many, this is the best-selling stunner in WWE history. Big Scott Hall. Many really incredibly simulated the super ties of JBL in WWE. Look here at Heath Slater. He had incredible strength, but this kick really dazzled everyone. But I'm unsure if anything surpassed The Undertaker's tremendous kick to Brock Lesnar, which sent him out. At WrestleMania 38, Vince McMahon failed to sell the Stoner's move. Not so with the great The Austin Theory, who has known how to sell it perfectly on several occasions. For me, it's incredible how he ends up selling it. Do you recall Triple H at the start of the video excellently selling Orton's kick? Well, that's how it was for almost a minute. The Nature Boy is amazing at selling moves. He does it in a very funny way. Not only him, but Charles Robinson, the referee, has also sold some really amazing moments. For example, look at how he throws himself out of the ring. The Rattlesnake at WrestleMania 38 isn't as strong as in previous years. But Pat McAfee sold this stoner impeccably, as impeccable as the Nature Boy. Ric Flair sold this super throw from Hulk Hogan in the 80s. If we keep talking about the Rattlesnake, we will perfectly remember this hit that the referee simulated more than Neymar. But it turned out really incredible. This took place in 2001 in the World Wildlife Fund. We know that the People's Champion is really incredible and has brutal strength, but so brutal to send Shane out this way. Dolph Ziggler is a genius. There's nothing left to do but applaud him for selling this corner move in this way. Mike Yoda sold many moves throughout his career in WWE, but he sold this like a real American football tackle. Humberto Carrillo perfectly sold these kicks from the canvas of Finn Balor, and they ended up for many looking truly brutal. Greg Valentine was left staggering after this tremendous knee strike in the asterisk of Bret Hart. The Hitman has given so many strong blows, but some have really gone too far, like this one from Shawn Michaels. Look at this simulation from Mr. Perfect. Didn't I tell you he's the best? Ric Flair sold moves with absolutely every wrestler. Now, if we keep talking about the members of Evolution, we'll remember when Randy Orton sold a kick from the ground just like Triple H Rick Rude did. Apparently it wasn't just once that he sold the same move in a really comical way. Billy Gunn's exaggeration is truly incredible. He jumped repeatedly and remained there. I never knew if it was a great exaggeration or if Devon Dudley was really having an attack. Now, does a slap from Shelton Benjamin really make you dizzy and fall like that? I keep thinking, I don't know. Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, has simulated incredible things, like an extreme avionic kick from Shawn Michaels. I had never seen such a great exaggeration of a wrestler begging for mercy from the strong blows he was receiving. Look at Binovich's small eyes. He fell slowly. We continue with the great Mr. Perfect. Look how incredible. Billy Gunn was a master at selling moves, though he receives little recognition for it. Unlike cases like Triple H or Randy Orton, who had difficulties falling, observe this World Championship Wrestling referee. If we go back to the case of Triple H, we would realize that it took him more than a minute to fall to the ground. Everyone was so confused that not even Shawn Michaels could understand what was happening. For many, this is the biggest exaggeration in WWE history, although literally, this is the biggest exaggeration in the history of wrestling. He ended up winning, watch out. Look at the incredible G.R. Hemner. How does he end up selling this headbutt with the Heartbreaker Kid? Shawn Michaels was a genius in everything he did, however as genius as Dolph Ziggler himself, who knew how to perfectly sell these powerful spears from Goldberg. Randy Orton rolled out of the ring after receiving the stunner from Stone Cold. And look at this really comical exaggeration from Ricochet himself. I don't know if a chop from Chris Benoit will really end up throwing you that way. What I do know is that Rick Rude is a genius, and he ended up tackling after an exaggeration Sting himself. Here the exaggeration seemed so real that the referee really thought he was following him, but no, the Nature Boy was about to fall here. Devon Dudley is another genius who simulates incredibly well. As incredible as JTG did with Santino Marella's Cobra, who the Cobra can really harm so strongly, Matt Striker did his thing with this little monkey of Rubam Dan at WrestleMania 23. The referee is in position, look, an exaggeration of godlike proportions comparable to Shawn Michaels himself. Or well, like Paul London himself in Royal Rumble 2005, or well, like Booker T himself in Royal Rumble 2002. Again, Mr. Perfect. But if we talk about Nature Boy, again, why has he really stolen the show? In this video, would we see this? Look, he really ends up taking a turn in the corner and leaves the ring. These punches probably don't knock you out, it's fine, it's the end of Warrior and the Hitman, but it's odd, isn't it? But what is strange is this way of getting out of the count, like Sami Zayn himself, an exaggeration. Brutal level, as brutal as when Dean Ambrose wanted to get past the security barrier no matter what. Hey, in the meantime, let me tell you that Triple H still hasn't fallen. Really, no one knows what's happening to him. Randy Orton brilliantly sold this move from Stone Cold. Can you believe a blow to the head sent Shawn Michaels flying? Not only did Michaels end up flat on the ring canvas, the $1 Million Man did too. Ken Chanrose almost broke his neck after this exaggeration. The Rock being The Rock. I really can't find another person who has sold the Stoners better than The Rock. I think that's when you can see the great connection these two wrestlers had. Big Show tried to simulate in the best way and ended up even crying to make it more believable. Triple H couldn't take it anymore, but pride always comes first, so he pushed Big Show and ended up going to the canvas of the ring. Some simulations are nonsensical, like one from Scott Hall. This is likely the most exaggerated elimination ever in the Royal Rumble. Lastly, we have the best ones. This one is my top pick, but it's not among the most popular choices, because I finally want to remember all the exaggerations that the great Shawn Michaels had when he faced Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam of the year. 2005 years later, we would find out that Shawn Michaels did all this to annoy Hogan in real life, because WWE at that time wanted to make the holster look very strong. And finally, I want to tell you that Triple H ended up falling